morning. Good morning. Peace and blessings. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. Welcome back. Um, Peace and blessings, everybody. Once again, hope you're enjoying your Wednesday morning or afternoon, whenever you catch this video. Yeah, man, we got to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute since I dropped the video, and as the title says, political violence. Thoughts on President Trump's third assassination attempt. And as you know, this past weekend, there was a White House Correspondents' dinner at the Hilton Hotel in Washington, D.C. And this is where all the media comes together and hosts an event. You know, it's lots of prominent people attended the event. And this was actually Trump's first time out of both his terms. And even when he ran against Joe Biden, so he's missed three of them, and this is his first time coming to the one since he's been president, and ultimately ended up being another attempt on his life. And I kind of wanted to, wait to give my assessment on the situation and kind of give more details. Everybody weigh in and kind of like, because this is the third time that we've seen that we know of publicly, because I'm hearing that there's been at least 6 attempts on President Trump's life since his first term. And we're seeing what happened in Philadelphia and Butler. We heard what happened at Mar-a-Lago with a guy waiting in the bushes with an AK, and Secret Service found out what was going to happen and got to it before he let a shot off. And in this situation now that just happened the other day, and the guy. Now this is what's crazy, because it's a young man, 31 years old, from California, that was very educated, man. He was black, but he was also mixed with white. Very educated, was a school teacher, a second grade school teacher, and this was something that he planned out. He traveled from California by way of train, stopped in Chicago, took another train from Chicago to Washington, D.C. the night before the event, checked into a hotel. Whole time he got all these different weapons on him, guns and knives, and he left behind a manifesto explaining every step of the way. So when he arrived in Washington, D.C., and he explained how easy it was to get to this point with all these weapons. And in his manifesto, he said that he wanted to wipe out the entire Trump administration from top to bottom. For some reason, except for FBI Director Kash Patel. I thought that was strange. But everybody else, in his manifesto, he explained that he felt as though Trump was a fascist, a racist. He was a threat to democracy. I mean, everything that we hear on left-wing media, everything that we hear left-wing propaganda. And on this channel, we have been telling you the dangers of propaganda. And, when people sit here and look at these news outlets and they spew this rhetoric and this propaganda, it's a lot of people out here that's going to act on it. right? So this man sat up here and basically got to this hotel. Now, mind you, this is the same hotel that Ronald Reagan had an assassination attempt on his life when he was shot 40 years ago, back in the 80s. The same Hilton Hotel, right? So the man gets to the entrance of the Hilton Hotel for the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And if you look at the footage, he blew past security, Secret Service, everything. I mean, this man must have been on the football team. Run past Secret Service, had to been going about 90 miles per hour, trying to make it to where the president and the media is having this, correspondence meet. People laughing, joking, the president and his wife and the vice president, the whole cabinet, Caroline Levitt, everybody sitting on the stage. And, you can see when the noise erupts, everybody gets startled. The First Lady, Melania Trump, you see their reaction. Erica Kirk, everybody, right? So when you see the response to the noise as the guy blew right past everybody, gets into a situation where he actually shoots a Secret Service officer. But the Secret Service officer had a vest on, so he was cool. He survived. They did not unalive this man. The Secret Service, caught off guard, was absolutely phenomenal in grabbing him, detaining him. They tackled him, unarmed him. He had several guns and knives on him, including a long shotgun that he assembled himself that was inside of a bag. They restrained him, unarmed him, and arrested him. So they got the man alive. Crazy thing about it is, you got people that sit up here and say that they believe this event was staged. Like President Trump staged this entire event. It's incredible. I mean, you can run with that narrative until you understand that this man, if he was unalive, then you probably had a chance of saying that. But why would they stage an event where they trying to assassinate the president and let the man live that tried to do it? Where he would be such a liability that he can flip on whoever put him up to it. This man we're gonna sit up here and let you live, even though you could be a liability to expose us. You just threw your life away. What benefit does anybody, the president or this guy, have to gain by staging this event? It's just ridiculous to even suggest that President Trump or the Trump administration had anything to do with setting this up. And I think people were saying, are you trying to deflect from what's going on in the war with Iran? He's trying to deflect from the Epstein files. It makes no sense. This was not a setup. But the good thing is everybody walked away from it virtually unharmed. But to see the media, and even though I hate this happen, I'm kind of happy it happened when you had both left wing media and right wing media in the building. Cause see, coming from Chicago, I've been in these type of situations in environments, especially doing music, where you'll be at a rap show or an event where artists are performing. Is a certain element there where things go left. And I've been in situations where gunshots have erupted and crowds are running out the door, and you don't know until you experience something like that for yourself. You don't have a clue or how that actually could traumatize somebody. So by the media being there, specifically the left-wing media being there and having that experience, maybe just maybe, this might help to calm down some of this rhetoric that we hear in mainstream media, because all you are doing is creating situations like this. Everybody can't handle you on here calling, because you see, we got situations where specifically the Democrats, it's one thing to hurl insults at your political opponent. It's one thing to they say Trump has a certain way of, he's from New York, so he has a certain way, they talk a certain way that may come off brash and rude. But it's another thing to call for political violence. And we have to be honest about it. The left has been calling for political violence on mainstream media ever since that man came down the elevator in 2016 announcing that he was running for the president. 2015. They have been calling for this man to be harmed. They have deemed him everything but a child of God. And you're broadcasting this. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, my bad. I'm back. And you're broadcasting this all over the world, right? People watching this, they're soaking this information in. He's a fascist, he's Hitler every day. That man, he didn't do anything but follow your directions. He said, hey, he's so much of a threat. He's such a bad person. He basically Satan. I'm going to volunteer myself. A 31-year-old grammar school, second grade school teacher, I'm going to sacrifice myself to take this man out. Because all of you on media, mainstream media, have told me that this man is the spawn of Satan. He is a modern day Hitler. He is a fascist. Not knowing that a fascist, you wouldn't be able to go on record publicly and call this man a fascist if he was truly a fascist. You would not be able to throw a no kings protest if this man was actually a king. But y'all spew this rhetoric. A lot of people can't help it. They can't handle it. We could look at it, a lot of us, it bounce right off of us. It has a deep effect on a lot of people's psyche. People that already, we need to tone this down. And now that the left-wing media has experienced some of a taste of what could actually happen as far as political violence is concerned, we're not asking you to be nice. If you want to, hurl insults, I don't suggest to do that. But it's one thing to insult, and it's another thing to call for violence. You got all type of, hey, we gonna beat them down. We gonna do, hey, go pick up. I'm heard politicians, and I'm gonna play it for y'all. Will you hear it out their mouth? Where politicians, elected officials are calling for political violence. Mainly, it's coming from the left overwhelmingly. I can't even really say I heard anybody on the right, on the conservative side, calling for violence. Now, have they said things that were disparaging? Yes. Have they said things that were outright just mean and negative? Yeah, everybody has. But the left wing media and the left wing politicians have created this monster, and as a result, we have a situation that happened with Trump being almost assassinated 3 times, where Charlie Kirk has been assassinated. You know, where people were blowing up Tesla dealerships and targeting random Teslas on the street. We have seen time and time and time again this radicalization as a result to left-wing propaganda promoting political violence. And now that the chickens have come home to roost, when some of these left-wing politicians and personalities, now they're starting to understand, well, maybe we do need to tone it down. Because you're radicalizing people out here to go out here and act on your rhetoric, man. And it's really sad. It's embarrassing for the nation. On the world stage, you don't have to like the president, but you should respect the office to keep some type of dignity about, the office of America, the presidency. Joe Biden was the president for 4 years. I hated Joe Biden, but I would never come out here and advocate anything. Like when I heard he was probably dealing with some illness, some sicknesses, I prayed for Joe Biden. Where is that? Because I don't want to see nothing happen to you. I might not like you as a politician. I might think you're a crappy president, but I'm not going to. You got people out here on social media literally happy that this man was actually mad that he didn't get assassinated. Like, oh man, they ain't finished the job. Listen, y'all need to be careful with what y'all say. I don't even think y'all understand the words that come out your mouth can reflect on you or your children or your family. I got a song on my album that I'm dropping soon called "The Power of the Tongue." Power of the tongue. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. You can either speak life into your reality or you can speak death into your reality. And wishing or celebrating or saluting the death of someone else is a terrible thing to do. And a lot of people for they TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, whether you like this man, don't like this man, y'all are y'all set y'all own self up for failure. By even speaking something like that into existence. So once again, I blame mainstream media. It got to be some laws created to correct this. And I hope that this experience has woken up some people to actually change the rhetoric, man. Lighten it up a bit. I mean, I don't want to hear both sides. This ain't both sides right here. This on a whole nother level, bro. And I'm gonna prove it to y'all next opportunity I get to sit down and play for you some of the rhetoric. Because see, the only thing the left can do, as far as an event that has happened in recent time, they got to go back 6 years ago to January 6th. We ain't trying to hear nothing about no January 6th. When we see what's going on in democratic cities all over the country every night. Look what's going on in Chicago. These democratic ran cities and states got these team takeovers. They out of control. You don't have that happening in a conservative state, is cities rather. It's a problem with the rhetoric and people celebrating the demise of their own nation. Before I get up out of here, there was an event yesterday where was his name King Charles of England came and spoke before Congress. And, you know, he kind of touched on what happened with, the latest assassination attempt on President Trump's life. And he said that is unbelievably that will never be successful. Nothing like that will ever benefit a nation, them trying to take out your leadership of your nation. And you had Democrats, Republicans, both sides of the aisle stand and applaud a king, an actual king, standing ovation. The same very people on the Democratic side that sat up here and celebrated and cheered for this same situation that happened to this man. The same Democratic Party that went out here, Democratic politicians that went out here and participated in No King's protest were there cheering for a real king of a nation. How hypocritical can you be when you're smiling and cheering and taking pictures of a real king, but you was just screaming at a No Kings protest, no kings? Y'all are full of it. And this man, President Trump, is no king. Like I said, you wouldn't even be able to throw a No Kings rally if that man was a king. Stop radicalizing these people that are suffering from mental illness in this nation that will go out here and act because they believe whatever they see on the news, whatever they see on television is law. They're going to take y'all words and run with it. Now, y'all might not bust a grape in a fruit fight, but these people out here, they'll do it. That man, 31 years old, threw his whole life away. A successful young man, 31 years old, was radicalized by the media, point blank, period. But hey, it's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. We love y'all. And until next time, we see you soon. Peace and blessings.